So last class in the technical writing, we discussed about what is technical writing, concept of technical writing, what is the difference between technical writing and academic writing, and what are the basics of communication, types of communication, and how the process of communication occurs actually, right? So moving on from that, the next topic we are going to discuss in this class is what are the different models of communication. So we will discuss what they are. So a model, before going into that, you need to understand what is a model actually. So a model is used to depict, that is present, any idea or thought or a concept in a simpler way through diagrams. Okay, so instead of whatever I say in theory, if it is in the form of a diagram, if it is in the form of a model, you will be able to easily understand. For example, when you go to some historical monuments, they will keep a model of the structure of that particular building, right? So that is a model. You will see the structure in the form of a diagram, so that you can easily understand the layout or the blueprint of that particular construction method, right? Okay, this is what a model is all about. So we are going to see the way different communication models. Usually models of communication are categorized into three broad categories: linear, transactional and international. Okay, so we will see what these different models are all about, right? So linear model, what do you mean by linear model? It is simple one-way communication. We discussed what are the types of communication, right? We know what is one-way communication. Okay, one-way communication. It is a one-way communication model. The message flows in a straight line from the sender to receiver. There is no concept of feedback. I am just taking class, I am just leaving. Simple. I am not asking anything, any feedback from you. So that constitute to linear form feed model of communication. The only task a receiver does is to receive the message. You just have to listen patiently. Simple. That is linear way of communication. Right? Different models. There are different models that follow linear method. Right? Linear model. They are Lasswell, Aristotle, Shannon and Weaver, SMCR, Berlow's SMCR. So we will see what these models are about. Right? So what are the pros, cons and key features of these linear models are, features is this is just a one-way communication and used for mass communication. One-way communication where they will use for a mass communication. While in a webinar, in a workshop there will be two-way, but for a target audience in a meeting, in a long mass communication meetings, there will be only one way. No feedback. Sender receives message and senders only send message, receiver only receive message. No two-way communication, right? And the pros, what are the advantages? It is good at audience persuasion and propaganda settings. Intentional result, you are just giving your results intentionally, right? And cons is communication is not continuous. There is no continuity, right? Because the receiver is not responding. There is no feedback. So communication is just stagnant and it is just one way. No way to know if the communication was effective. Yeah, that is true, right? If I don't understand whether, if I don't ask any feedback from you, I will not be able to understand whether the teaching was good or bad, right? I'm just teaching, I'm just leaving. That is one way communication. I will not be able to understand. I will not be able to know whether the teaching was effective. So that is a disadvantage of this linear model. So the first model of linear model is Aristotle. So Aristotle, you know who is Aristotle, right? He is a great Greek philosopher born in northern Greece. He is the teacher of Alexander the Great. You know Alexander the Great, right? Everyone knows Alexander. Aristotle is a teacher. So Aristotle developed a model, linear model for oral communication, which is considered as the first model of communication, right? It was proposed before 300 BC, long time back ago. It is one of the widely used communication model. So it consists of five primary elements: speaker, speech, occasion, audience and effect. These are the five components of Aristotle model. It is a speaker centered model, as the speaker has to impart most important role in. Only the speaker talks. That's why it is a speaker centered model, right? The speaker must organize speech beforehand according to the target audience, situation, occasion, right? So if I'm going to take a class, that means I need to prepare what I am going to take today according to the needs of the target audience. Simple. So we will go through, we will understand this model with a simple situation. You see this. I am giving an example because it helps you to understand better. So consider this situation. In a political meeting, we are in a political meeting, right? The prospective leader delivers speech to the audience urging more votes from the constituency. He tries to convince a crowd in the best possible way he can, so that he emerges as a winner. So he is in a political meeting. We are in a political meeting. So the speaker, what he does is he delivers speech. He is talking in a political meeting for the benefit of getting more votes in that constituency, right? So he is giving us a speech that I will do this, I will implement this, what do you say, I will implement this facility, I will give this facility, and he is giving his speech in order to gain more vote in that particular constituency. So actually what is he doing? He is delivering speech in a manner that the listener would get convinced and cast their votes only in his favor. He is talking in such a way that he is making the listener to believe that he is actually going to do all these things to in order to earn votes, right? That is the concept behind this particular meeting. Here the leader or the speaker or the center is the center of attraction. So here you see the speaker, the leader, whoever speaking in that particular political meeting is the center of attraction. That is called speaker oriented model. Or the crowd is just the passive listener. The crowd is just listening. They are not responding. They are just listening to the speaker. So according to this model, Aristotle model, speaker plays a key role in the communication. As I said earlier, here that's why I gave you a specific example so you can understand. He is the one who takes complete charge of the communication. So the sender first prepare a content. Sender in the sense that is a speaker prepares a content which he does carefully by putting his thoughts and words in an objective of influencing the listeners, who would then respond in the sender's desired way. That means the speaker has prepared his content. In this example, whoever the political leader is, he is going to Bihar constituency, means he understands the audience of Bihar. So what are their needs and requirement? Accordingly, he prepares the content. He will say, I will bring this facility, that facility to the needs of the audience in the objective to gain more votes to win the election, right? In response in a sender's desired way. If he goes to Bihar and talks about the problems in Tamil Nadu, it will not work out. So he prepares content according to the desires way that the listeners will be attracted and able to cast the vote for him to win the election, right? Simple. So this is all about Aristotle model. I hope you understand this with particular example. So what are the elements of this particular model is ethos, pathos and logos. Ethos means features that makes you credible in front of the audience. In single words, it is a credibility. So whatever the meeting, the leader is trying to say, you should have some credibility in it. And pathos, it is important for emotional bonds. It needs, if people of villages needs water, politician says he will build a dam for water. That means he is creating a bond between the villagers and himself, right? It is a way, what you say is important for emotion. He knows the water problem in the village. He is talking in such a way that he is going to build dams for generating more water. So he is creating an emotional bond. So that kind of thing is called pathos, right? Logos is logic, dealing with logic. People find logic in everything. So it is better to use factual data. Instead of saying one dam, I will construct 100 dams. It is not logical to construct 100 dams, right? So with practical data, see, I am having this money fund allotted to me, and for this percentage, I will use it for dam, and I will solve your water problem. So there is a logic behind this, right? Simply saying 100,000 dams I will construct, that is not logical. So whatever which is logical, that falls under logos. So Aristotle categorized like this. Remember this: ethos, pathos, logos. Credibility, emotional bonding, logical way. Right? Simple. So what are the criticism? Criticism in the sense of drawbacks, disadvantages. No concept of feedback. See, there is no concept. He is just speaking in such a way that the only listeners have to listen. One-way speaker. right? No concept of feedback. That is one of the main disadvantages of this particular model. So moving on from Aristotle, we are seeing Lasswell's model, Harold Lasswell model. So Lasswell model is nothing but 5 Ws. It is a 5W model, right? It is a linear one-way model communication, one of the influential communication model. It is 5 components, which is 5 Ws. Who says what, to whom, in which channel, to whom, with what effect. 5W model. Remember that. Components are the questions to be asked and get the answer to keep communication going. So who, according to the answers of those 5 questions, the communication will go on, right? So we will see this model with a particular example. See, the first question is who. Component who is the communicator. And see, example of that component, a vacuum cleaner salesman. Let us say a vacuum cleaner salesman coming to a house. So he is the component who, first W. Second says what, that is a message. Whatever he is saying is the message, right? So he promotes his brand of vacuum is as the best. He is coming to your home, that person, that is who, he is saying that, sir, this is the best vacuum cleaner in the market. So that is his message. Okay, says what is message. In third, in which channel, medium, media analysis, television. Here he can say it through television also, or directly in person also. Whatever way he is saying, that is the medium, that is the channel. In which channel, who says what, in which channel, and to whom he is saying. You are the target audience, right? Audience, and even in TV viewers in United States, in this case you. If he is coming directly to your home, that means you are the target audience. If the audience, if the people are watching in TV, then the who are viewing the TV are the audience, right? That is whom is audience. With what effect? What is the effect of this communication? Brand awareness, belief that his vacuum is best, increase sale revenue. He is believing that, he is ensuring that you believe that his vacuum cleaner is the best in the market, and you will buy it from it, right? Buy it from him. So it will automatically increase his revenue, and sales will be increased. So this is 5W. This is the model of Lasswell's model of communication based on 5 Ws. Who is the sender, who is the communicator, and says what message he is delivering, in which channel, how he is delivering, and to who is the target audience, and what is the effect of that communication, right? Simple as that. 5W model. So next we are coming to Shannon and Weaver. Shannon and Weaver sees information in 5 key parts. What are they? Sender, encoder, channel, decoder, receiver, right? It emphasizes the importance of encoding. This model emphasizes the importance of encoding and decoding messages for them to be sent. So we will see this model with a specific example. When I say example, you will be able to understand the model in a better way. So if I give this theory part alone, it will be difficult for you to understand. I will say this with a particular example, right? So see, let us go through the following example to understand the model better, right? So you see, follow this example carefully, okay? So Peter is working as a vice president. So Peter is working as a vice president of a company, okay, fine. Marketing with a reputed multinational firm. So he is working as a vice president in the marketing with a reputed company. He is currently heading Mike, who is taking care of a small team. So Peter is the boss of Mike. Heading means Peter is a boss of a person called Mike. So who is Mike? Mike is the head of a small team. He is taking care of a small team. So Peter wanted Mike, the boss wanted Mike to prepare an exhaustive report on marketing strategies which can be employed to achieve the goals of the organization. So Peter is asking Mike, please prepare a report of marketing strategies. So how to implement marketing strategies so that we can achieve our goal. So Peter is asking Mike to do that, okay? He also wanted a detailed study on competitors' activity by the end of the day. He is not only asking to prepare a marketing strategy, he is also asking the activities of competitors. Competitors means other companies who are competing with Peter's company, right? Like Amazon competing with Flipkart. Simple as that. So he's also asking the activities, what Flipkart is doing, what other companies, what other competitors are doing. He's also asking that also. Okay, so while he was speaking, listen, this is the important part. While Peter was giving instruction to Mike, he turned when speaking. The company peon interrupted to take the lunch order. See, while Peter was giving instruction to Mike, the company peon suddenly came in asking, "Sir, what is the menu for today's lunch? What can I purchase you?" While they were speaking in the flow, someone comes in and interrupts. This is very important. Please follow this. The peon comes in and interrupts. "Sir, what is the lunch for today?" So after giving him the information, the peon goes away. So finally, Mike, when finally Mike, when he receives the information, he goes to his team. Okay, Mike is heading a small team, right? He goes to his team members and he tried his level best to convey what Peter has told. So Mike is telling his team members, whatever the boss has told, he is telling his team members to do it and telling them to prepare the document, right? At the end of the day, the team members has completed the document and submitted the report to the boss, Peter, but there are some few errors. There were errors. That few errors were later rectified on. So consider this example. Based on this example, we are going to discuss what is Shannon and Weaver model. I hope you understand this example. Now we are going to discuss this example in a detailed way. Okay. So Peter, who is Peter? Peter is actually the person who thought of preparing the detailed report, right? So Peter is the person who is having the idea. He is thought to prepare the detailed report of marketing strategies. He is actually the one from whom the thought came. So because of his idea, he is the, what do you say, creator of this particular idea of preparing marketing strategies. From him only the idea came, right? It was in Peter's brain who came up with this idea for preparing the strategies for the organization. So actually, you see, Peter is the source of information. So consider this, okay? So had Peter kept the idea in his mind only without sharing, the organization would have not benefited. If he kept the idea with himself without sharing, the organization goal will not be achieved, right? So it is very important for the individual to share his ideas as well as information with others to make the best possible use of information. It is important to share the information. So instead of keeping the idea to himself, what Peter did is he shared the information with the subordinate Mike. Okay. So do you think Mike and his team would have come to know about Peter's idea if he was stored in his brain? Only no. If Peter is not shared his thought, Mike doesn't know what actually the boss is thinking. So Peter has to convert his thought into words and bring out the information through his mouth. Here mouth is actually working as a transmitter which helps in transmitting the information, the message from the brain to the mouth after carefully putting the thoughts into words. See how beautifully it has written, right? So the thoughts of Peter is coming out as words through mouth. So mouth is a transmitter, right? Whatever the knowledge Peter is having, it is coming through his mouth in the form of words. Okay. So Peter's voice is actually the signal. The words coming through the mouth, the voice is a signal. Remember this. Remember the bold words. See, give the emphasis on bold words. See, voice is a signal that is being sent to Mike about what he is supposed to do. So based on the words coming off the mouth, the voice, the signal, the instruction given to Mike, so he will carry out accordingly, right? So again, you remember this. The conversation was interrupted by the peon who came for the lunch order. While Peter was giving instruction to Mike, the peon came in between, right, to take lunch order. It was interrupted. In the same way, signals get interrupted by various noises and distractions. So that interruption, the peon who came here is referred to as noise in communication. I hope you understand. This is the best example for this, right? So see, similarly, horns at crowded streets, buses at marketplaces, babies screaming, people screaming, babies wailing, whatever it is, these are various type of noises you come across in the communication process, right? So Shannon and Weaver model proposes a message actually originate from the person who gets the thoughts or has the information. In this example, Peter gets the thoughts and he had the information. The sender is also called the source of information or the information source. So Peter is the source of information. Simple as that. The information then gets transmitted from the brain to the mouth and comes out as a signal which reaches the recipient after joining hands with several noises and other disturbances. So the Peter thoughts came out as words from his mouth, which was given to intended recipient. Who is the recipient here? Mike, because he is a subordinate. Okay, he is a recipient, he is a receiver. Okay, fine. In between there was a noise. Who is the noise? That peon. That peon came in between and asked for lunch order. So because of the interruption of the peon, certain communication might be missing, certain important point might be missing from Peter to Mike. So that is the disturbances. While I am talking to you in phone, if the signal is not clear, you will not get what I am saying. I am saying tomorrow 9 o'clock class. At the time of pronouncing 9 o'clock, you are not hearing properly, means again you will ask, sir, what time? That means there is a noise in the communication. Okay. So this is all about Shannon and Weaver model. I hope you understand this, right? With this specific example, I am giving example for each models for you to understand, so that you will never forget. Okay, when I just say the theory part of the model, you will not get it. So example will help you to understand the concept in a better way. So next we are coming to SMCR model, that is Berlow's model, SMCR model. So what do you mean by SMCR? Source, message, channel, receiver. That is the four components of Bernoulli's model, SMCR. So source is the, as we know what is source is. We all know what source is. We saw in the previous example. Includes the communication skills of the sender, attitude and culture, everything. And message is the what the content is trying to deliver. Channel is in what way, what channel is the what channel it is delivering. In our case, it's Google Meet, right? Receiver, who is receiving the message. Okay, so that is what Berlow's SMCR model is all about. And these are the, what do you say, these are the characteristics, attributes of that model. There is no concept of feedback in this model. Remember, there is no concept of feedback, so the effect is not considered. There is no noise. The Berlow model considers that there is no noise. So noise concept is in Shannon and Weaver model. Please remember that noise concept is not in Berlow model, it is in Shannon and Weaver. No concept of barriers. This model assumes that there will be no barriers, no hindrance at all. Nothing will affect the communication process according to Berlow's model. It is a linear model of communication. There is no two-way, only one way. We all know what is linear model. It's one way, right? So if there is no feedback, there is no noise, and there is no disturbances, it is definitely a linear model, right? So both of the people, that means receiver as well as the sender, must be similar according to the factors. So based on these four factors, both the receiver and sender should be similar. So this is what you say. This is the pictorial representation of SMCR model. You see the communication skills, attitude, everything comes under source. Whatever the content elements or treatment or structure, whatever the presenting, that is the medium, that is the message actually. Channel is whatever it may be, seeing, touching, smelling, whatever it may be. Receiver is the knowledge of the receiver, communication skill of the receiver, everything. Okay, attitude, everything falls under this system. So moving from linear, next we are going to look into transactional model. So transactional model sends and receives both the sender and receivers are communicator. That means there is feedback. Simple. If both are communicating, means two-way communication. That means the receiver also providing some feedback, right? So some feedbacks may also be non-verbal. That means without talking also. We saw what is non-verbal in the previous class, right? Like body language, signs. I understood. Waving his hand and saying I understood. Okay, no issues. So these are the three different models that follow this particular pattern, right? Barnum's transactional model, helical model, and Becker's mosaic model. We will see what these models are all about with certain examples also. Don't worry. So these are the advantages, features of this model. So as I said, use for interpersonal, the communication between two or more members, right? So advantages is there is feedback. So then there is advantage. You can understand the effectiveness of this model, right? Encourages non-verbal communication, more noise due to communicator talking at the same time. There will be noise. If everyone is talking means there will be definitely noise. So that is a disadvantage of this particular model. So the first one we are going to look in this model is Barland's model. So in overview, Barland's model of communication highlights the role of private and public cues that impact our messages. We will see this. Okay, what are they? Okay, public cue. What do you mean by the word cue? Cue is nothing but a sign. Sign. It is a sign. Okay, with okay. It's a model that explores interpersonal immediate feedback communication. Since it explores that, it falls under transactional model. Central approach to the idea is feedback. Feedback is the central approach of this particular model. Remember that. Okay. That is the sender is the reply given by the receiver. Whatever I have taught you so far, based on your feedback only, I can understand whether you have understood the concept or not. So feedback is the central focus of this particular model. It also highlights the role of cues. What do you mean by cues? It highlights the role of public cues, which are environmental cues, and private cues, which are personal thoughts and background. Public cues is environmental, private is the thoughts and background of the person. Okay, so we will see it influences, it highlights the factors what we think and what we see. So we will see this. I'll give you a specific example of this particular model. Okay, it is very complex. Why? Because I'll tell you, both the sender and the receiver must understand the codes. Then only this model will be effective, or else this model will not be effective. That's why it's complex. Both the sender and receiver will be will be having the same codes. That means I will give a specific example. See, uh, you students know only Hindi, okay, and I know both English and Hindi. If I take class in English, you will not able to understand, right? So what to do is the sender should teach, the teacher should teach only in Hindi, because students know only Hindi. Simple. So that is the model of Barland. That implies Barland model. The teacher has to know, because there is a specific code. Here Hindi is the code. Because students know only Hindi. So teacher has to teach only in Hindi. The sender and the receiver uses the same codes for communication. If I teach in English and if you know only Hindi, the communication will not be effective. That is what this model is highlighting. That's why this model is very complex, right? So moving on from that, we are going to see what is a helical model. You know what is a helix, right? This picture, this is an example how an helix looks like, a DNA structure. What's a DNA model? That is an helical model, right? So this is another important model of communication. It was proposed by Frank Dance. It is also called as Dance model of helix. Okay. A helix is nothing but a curve, a smooth curve, just like a spring. It looks like a spring which goes upwards and also comes downwards. A curve like a spring which goes upwards as well as comes downwards. This helical model of communication was designed by Frank Dance, keeping helix in his mind. Okay, this model was designed by him based on the helical structure, right? So let us understand this model with an example. Let's see what an example is. A child, from the very moment he comes into the world, that means the moment he is born, right, starts communicating. How he communicates? A baby, when he is born, the nurse rubs his back to make the child cry, right? So to see whether the baby is not deaf or something like that. If the child doesn't cry, it is an indication that it is a stillborn child. Stillborn means it is born out with without any, any features or emotions. That is a stillborn. So that the nurses hit him or rub him to make him cry, to make him whether he is active, right? So what does the crying refers? Crying is the process of communication. What does the crying actually refers here? It is actually the way child is communicating to his parents that he is alive. That is the context. If the child is only crying, but that crying refers to the context as, yes, I am alive, I am crying. Yeah, absolutely hale and hearty and ready to face the challenges of the world. As the child grows up, He cries whenever he is angry. Let us take a 2-month child, a 3-month child. They doesn't know how to say I am hungry. They will just cry. If anything hurts them, they will cry, right? Hungry or expect something from its parents, sometimes simply for his parents' attention. They will cry. For everything they will cry. If they are hungry, they will cry. If they are bored, they will cry. Only crying is their only way of communication, right? It again a child's own way of conveying his message to the whole world, because at that early age the child only do crying, right? So crying is the only way they convey their message to the others, right? So when the same child grows up after a certain period of time and start going to the school, he interacts with his parents, teachers, friends in the form of words. See, here crying has changed into words after the child goes to school at the age of 3 or 5 or something. He is learning to speak. From crying, the communication changed into words. Now crying is actually replaced by the words or speech. But one thing which is common. What is common? Communication process. From the child birth is communication. I am hungry through crying. Now he is able to talk with words. I am hungry, he can say this by words. The communication process is not changed, but the way of communication changed. So that is why the helix model says that from crying to spoken words, thus child actually started communication from the first day of its life itself and has been communicating till through the present day. Till now we are communicating. From child we have started it, until now we are communicating with certain modifications, right? So this modification, this improvement on this medium of communication and this process is called as helical, because it is every time it is improving and going in a motion, right? According to this model, the process of communication evolves from the birth. From the birth of an individual itself, the process of communication starts and continues till we go along, right? And all living entities start communicate from the very day, first day of origin. It includes animals, whatever it may be, right? Seeds are planted, whatever it may be. They communicate message to others in their own way. Okay, the same applies for animals, birds, fishes, and all other living creatures. I hope you understand this. Okay, in helix model, the important concept is the communication starts from birth itself. Okay, starts from the birth. When the child steps into the outside world, the communication starts from there. It is going on, right? Still. So next is mosaic model, Becker's mosaic model. So this Becker's mosaic model, it's one of the classic. According to Becker, he says that classical models are not very useful. Classical means traditional models are not useful. So the model explains the complexity of humans' communication in the form of a mosaic. It describes the randomness of origin of message and communication as a dynamic process, not a one way. It is dynamic, right? Okay, we will see what mosaic model is all about. So see, you see this image, this is a mosaic. Okay, in this mosaic there are cells. Cells means boxes of structures, right? So empty cells. And which one? The cells which are white color, there are empty cells. That is unavailable message. There is no messages or something. Vertical layers. Vertical layers means you see, this is a vertical layer. From top to down, this cell is a vertical layer and this cell is a horizontal layer. So vertical layer means set of similar messages, same kind of messages. Okay, and cells, these cells are nothing but it comprises of messages and sources. How the message was delivered and what is the message. Okay, so receiver again go through the cells in the form of loop. So he created a mosaic based on some vertices and matrix, and he documented the communication process, right? So according to this model, every person lives and exists in the web of communication. That is true actually. Everywhere we communicate with each other. So that it creates a web. Okay. So my web is I will communicate with students, I will communicate with teachers. Everywhere there is. So according to me, if I form this mosaic, I will see what are the similar messages and what are the unleft messages according to this mosaic. So messages construct human and human construct messages. Simple. It is a vice versa, reciprocal. Messages depend on source, culture, situation, environment. That is true. The constructed message is a small step to the formation of complicated communication environment, which is called as mosaic. See, whatever message we are constructing over a process of time, over the web of communication, that is constructed into a communication environment. Every communication is constructed into a specific environment. That environment is called as mosaic, which is comprised of cells and layers, right? The mosaic is formed from the networks and bits of information. Whatever I communicate to you, that comes under as cells of students. Whatever I communicate to my parents, that comes under the cell of family. These kind of network together constitutes the mosaics, right? Bits of information helps in making a complete picture of situation. Here one disadvantage is if one bit is lost. If one bit is lost, the receiver will not be able to understand the next bit. In simple, if I directly go to the final part of this lesson, you will not understand the lesson, right? So it should be in an organized way. The bit should be there. So that is the communication is a three-dimensional cube formed with bits of information and time space dimension. So it is a non-linear model. So you just understand this in a broad way. Okay, it involves cells. It involves cells. It involves a mosaic pattern, right? So coming to the interactive model. So we are saying so far we discussed about linear and transactional. So coming to the interactive model, the name itself implies it's an interaction, right? Is similar to transactional. It's same as transactional only because transaction also says two-way communication. So interaction also two-way communication, but it is mostly used for media like internet. You should understand the difference. It's for internet. Facebook, there will be millions of people commenting on a post. In internet, there will be millions of people commenting on an article, right? People can respond to any mass communications like videos, news, okay, exchangers. And Facebook, for a particular post, everyone will like, dislike, and they will give their opinions, right? So it is a mass communication. So you should understand the difference between transactional and interactive communication. So Scrum's interactive model comes under this particular pattern. Okay, so what is the features of this model? Used for new communications. Yeah, interactive will be applicable for communication with the more than large group, right? More than small group, right? Small group you can refine with transactional. When it comes to internet or public mass media, you can go for interactive model. Slower feedbacks. Yeah, if I am what do you say? If I'm targeting 1,000 people, the feedbacks will come. Will take a long time to occur and accumulate, right? So pros is feedback even in mass communication, new communication channels. The channels can be delivered using. So I can address 1,000 people in a single channel like YouTube live video. I can see n number of people. I can interact with n number of people through Facebook live and YouTube live, right? So that is where you can improvise with the channels, right? Feedback can take very long time. That is true. If I am talking with 1,000 people, every 1,000 people to receive the feedback from 1,000 people, it will take long amount of time. And center and receiver might not know who the other person is. That is very true, right? If I am taking a webinar, everyone will attend who are all interested, right? I don't know who is the receiver, right? That is a problem. That is a drawback of this particular model. So Oscar Scrum model falls into this category. Actually, it explores communication is equal and reciprocal. It means sender as whatever sender is communicating and whatever receiver is receiving, everything is equal and reciprocal. After sender communicates the information, the receiver also receives and gives his feedback in turn. So everything is equal. It does not differentiate. There is no difference between sender and receiver, but sees each as a being in equal position. Everyone is equal. But in linear model, center, it is a sender. So what do you say? The center of attraction is towards the sender. Here it is not like that. Both and everyone is equal. Okay. As feedback is immediate, noise can be reduced through ongoing clarification of messages. Since feedback is there, we can able to minimize the noise based on those feedbacks, right? Oh, let me give a good example of this particular model. Okay, so Jennifer is asking to Sam, will you accompany me for a movie? That means Jennifer is asking to Sam that will you come to movie with me? Accompany means coming together. Okay, will you come to movie with me? So Sam kept mum and did not respond. So Sam didn't say anything. He didn't say yes or no. Okay. Hence the communication between Sam and Jennifer was not complete. That is true. Either he has to say yes, yes I am coming. No, I am not coming. He didn't say. He kept silent. So the communication was not complete. If Sam was not interested for the movie, he could have responded or given the feedback to Jennifer about his unwillingness. According to this model, whenever the information reaches the recipient, it becomes his responsibility to give the feedback and let him know that He has downloaded the messages in exactly the same manner the speaker wanted. See, true, right? According to this model, the receiver has to respond, right? So that the codes are equal, right? That means the sender will understand, yes, my message is clear and you have responded accordingly. Because here Sam did not respond. He is not saying, no, I am not coming to the movie with you. He is not saying, yes, I am coming to the movie. He is just keeping silent. That means that the sender is confused whether he understood the movie or whether he understood the message or whether he understood the meaning of the message and everything, right? So that means this model is not complete without that feedback from Sam, right? Okay, here you see sender M is message. Sender there is a downward arrow to receiver. After receiving the message, the receiver should send the upward arrow, that is sending the message again to the sender. Then only this model is complete. Remember that. So Scrum believed that individual knowledge, experience and cultural background also play an important role, definitely, in communication. So individuals from diverse cultures, religion or background tend to interpret the message in different ways. That is true. Okay, individual from different background. For example, uh, so Abhilash, I will give you a, what you say, example in Malayalam. Okay, we have in Tamil Nadu we have a town called Kallipatti, something like that. But in Malayalam, Patti means dog, right? See, whatever I am trying to convey, Abhilash might understand in a different perspective because of his cultural differences, right? He is from Kerala. In Kerala, Patti means dog. He is thinking that I am scolding him as a dog. That is not the case. So see the miscommunication because of the cultural differences. We will see this with a specific example, right? So Billy is the boss here. He is saying to his servant, "Please bring me something hot for me to drink, as I am suffering from sore throat." So the owner is having some sore throat. He is having a throat problem. He is asking to bring something hot to drink, something hot. So what the servant does is, servant is giving a glass of hot water, lukewarm water, okay. But what Billy actually wanted is cup of hot chocolate or hot coffee. He wanted something hot in the sense of tea or coffee or hot chocolate. But the waiter just gives him only hot water. Here you see different interpretation by the server. Here the fault is not on the server, not on the owner also, because the owner only told something hot. Okay, he didn't mention coffee or something. So according to hot, he gave hot water. That is not wrong. But he didn't actually get the inner message of that communication. The server couldn't understand and interpret the boss's thoughts. Okay, so he gave only hot water. Simple. Because of their difference background, right? Difference in background. So again, I will give another example. John to Teddy. John to Teddy. I get late for my office. Please buy me a clock. Okay, he's asking daily. I am getting late, man, for my office. So please buy me a clock. Okay. So Teddy went to the local market and gifted a clock to John, and John was never late to office after that. He could have he could have also see after. So based on the command instruction from John, Teddy went to the shop and bought a clock for him. So after the clock, he saw the time and John was never late to the office. You see, this message could also have been misinterpreted. How come he could understand his friend's desire? Because of his friend he understood? No, because clock is a common word. He specifically told, I want clock, not wristwatch, not other timepiece. He want clock. Everyone know what clock is, right? So the message here is very clear. So the Teddy, anyone, not even the best friend Teddy, anyone can easily understand. Purchase me a clock means he will definitely purchase. You know what clock is. Here in the above example, in the hot, something hot in the sense that everyone will take this in a different way. Okay, that is the difference in this communication, right? So the feedback, that's why feedback is very essential in this particular model, so that the sender can understand, sender can identify the effectiveness of the communication. So everything plays a equal share in it. I hope you understand this with these kinds of examples. Okay, so coming to the other model, we have seen all the three models of communication. What are they? Linear, transactional and uh, interactional model, right? So now there is other models. One more model I want to discuss. Okay, that is Wesley and McLean model. So in a single, what do you say, in a single line summary of this model shows that communication factor is influenced by environmental, cultural and personal factor. That means the origin of message coming from the environment, not from the thought of the center. In one model, what do you say? In a model, in a Peter example, we saw that Peter has the idea of developing marketing strategy. So the thought is from the Peter. So Peter is the source of information. Here the source of information in this model, the source of information will be the environment. We will see with this with a specific example. Okay, it embraces the importance of feedback. Okay, however, it also emphasizes that environmental and cultural factors influencing communication. Okay, environmental and cultural factors influencing communication. Okay, so this is the what is a pictorial representation of this Wesleyan MacLean model. You see, X, whatever this X is, that are environmental factor, that is information from the outside world. Here A is the sender. So the sender is getting ideas from environment. Okay. And then here B is the receiver, who is receiving the message. C is the gatekeeper, the editor of the message. Okay. Whoever in between modifies the message, that is a gatekeeper. So we will see what this X, four variables, X1, X2 and everything are four variables. So one might be sensor, one might be sensory experience and object of orientation from the sender or the receiver, whatever it may be. So we will see this particular model with a specific example, you will easily understand. See, so let us try to understand this model with the help of below examples. At the night, when suddenly an individual experiences the shaking and trembling of earth crust. Okay, night you are sleeping and there is a shaking and earthquake is happening. He immediately wakes up to convey his family that they immediately need to vacate the house. Okay, so what, out of fear he wakes up and he communicates, he wakes up other family members also, say that we are in danger, we need to go out. That is the first example. See, in the second example, Jackson had important meetings line up during the day. So the next day he is having important meetings, so he is prepared for that, and he slept well. The moment he was about to step out of the door, so he is ready and he is going out to the office for that meetings. He was greeted by a heavy downpour. Downpour means heavy rain. Okay, heavy rain. So he had no other option to cancel all the meetings, right? However, no matter how urgent they were, because of the heavy downpour, heavy rainfall, he had to cancel because he couldn't reach the meeting. No one else could, right? So what he decided, Jackson preferred to stay indoors and rescheduled all the meetings. So he just stayed at home and rescheduled the meeting to a later date. So first example is earthquake, second example is rainfall, third example is on the way to office. You are going to, let me say I am coming to office. One witnesses a road accident or a murder. Okay, I am seeing a road accident or a murder on my way to office. The first thing one do is he calls his friends and relatives and shares his experience with them, right? See, on my way, this thing happened, the accident happened, someone killed somebody, I saw a murder. He passes on the messages to his relative and tells them to be safe. I am telling my friends and others, so be safe on this road, right? So be careful when you are traveling through this particular road. So in all the above three example, you see, you get signals from the environment. That means based on the earthquake, in the first example, based on the earthquake, you woke up and the earthquake is the source of information here. Okay. On the earthquake, you told your family members to vacate. Similarly, in the second example, rain is the source of information. The environmental factor rain. Because of rain, you told your colleagues that meeting will not happen. Okay. Similarly, the third example, the road accident or the murder which the person saw is the environmental source of message. So based on his experiences, he has certain thoughts and he shares with his friends and relatives to be safe. Here you see the first origin of information from the environment, whatever factor it may be. Okay, so that model, that kind of communication falls under this particular model. So this is the references which are used to prepare this particular presentation. Please go through all these things when you're free. So this is all about models of communication. Hope you understand this. Thank you.